you like that chant. Kirk Cousins back at FedEx Field for the first time since he left the Washington franchise after the 2017 season. I didn't like it for most of the game. Kirk Cousins seemed overmatched. He seemed confused. They had a touchdown on the first drive. They stunk after that, but afterward, there they are on the plane with the chains, shirts off, sun's out, guns out, and Kirk Cousins. And could you imagine the Vikings doing that last year when Mike Zimmer was the coach? Could you imagine? I have a feeling that would not have been happening. First of all, they weren't winning, so there's no reason to celebrate. But, Myles, I tell you what, this whole idea of finding a way to win close games, it's nothing that ever shows up on a stat sheet. It's purely and totally intangible, but it's about focusing in a moment when the focus is needed the most. And what it epitomized it yesterday, when the defense made a stop, you could just tell Dalvin Cook had a level of determination that they weren't going to be denied. He wasn't going to be denied, and they weren't going to be denied. And I don't know if it's coaching, culture, it's all those things that gets guys to really come together in moments of adversity and not fracture. It's what we were talking about earlier with Andy Reid. What do you do in those moments where it's not your day? It would have been very easy for the Vikings after that weird, goofy play where the official gets in the way of the defensive back and the Commanders score and they go up 10-7. It would have been very easy to say it's just not our day. And then it's 17-7. All right, hey, we've had a great run. 6-2's fine. But they come back. And what a catch by Dalvin Cook to tie the game up halfway through the fourth quarter. Like I said, he was not going to be denied yesterday, Myles. And that mindset is why they're winning these games late. They will not be denied.
Yeah, they don't quit. I think Kevin O'Connell obviously has done a really nice job of establishing what he wants his culture to be. And when you get out to this much success so early on in your tenure, I mean, it's going to help you not just this year, but I think for years down the line, right? So, yeah, you get a situation where Kirk Cousins has to engineer a comeback in the building that used to be his home, and you get people cheering you like that, and then you get back on the plane, and, you talk about being overmatched or bewildered or whatever. I mean, I'm a little overmatched and bewildered by whatever in the world was going on that plane, because Kirk Cousins with the chains and the shirt off and you're at 30,000 feet or wherever they're still on the tarmac. I don't know. That's some wild stuff, but it shows what's going on there is good. Right? You don't have celebrations like that without a really, really strong kind of internal culture that's been built, not just with the offensive success, but also with the defense, and everybody's coming together. Right? And I think that's emblematic also when you're on the field and you see the TJ Hawkinson, who got there on Wednesday, has 9 catches for 70, 80 yards, something like that. That's not something that you expect to see out of a guy who literally just walked in the building for the first time. So they've got something rolling in Minnesota. They really do.
9 targets, 9 catches, 70 yards. Hawkinson told me after the game that it was like learning a new language all week long. He spent overtime doing it. It was his 4th offense that he's had to learn in his career, and he's got little tricks that he uses, devices to learn the terminology. And what helped him was, and this was a great point, he'd already played the Commanders, so he didn't have to spend as much time studying their defense. He could spend more time learning the playbook. He knew that defense from when they played earlier this year. But, Myles, this is where the road officially gets rocky for the Vikings. At Buffalo, Cowboys, Patriots, Jets, at the Lions, which is not going to be easy, divisional game. Colts, okay. Giants on Christmas Eve.
Fun.
At the Packers, which is not going to be easy. At the Bears, which is not going to be easy. It may be meaningless for the Vikings by then. They'll have the division probably locked up by then, but it gets difficult. The good news, though, they got 5 out of 6 home games coming up after Buffalo. 5 out of 6 games in the Metrodome before they go outside for the last 2 at the Packers and the Bears.
In the where?
And, the Metrodome, U.S. Bank Stadium. Sorry, close enough. They know who we mean. Just like Giants Stadium and MetLife. Sorry. It's only been 6 years since they opened the new stadium. Cut me some slack.
Only.
Anyway. What was my point? Oh, well, look. They've built in some buffer. They're 4.5 games ahead in the division.
Absolutely.
And who knows what they're going to be? Who knows? They lost the one loss they were soundly beaten by the Eagles. But you know what? If they would have a rematch with the Eagles, it would be like 4 months later. And who knows? Who knows? I keep predicting that this thing is going to fall apart. And every time it looks like it's going to fall apart, they find a way to slap it back together and get it done.
Yeah, they do. And look, I mean, this is a huge game next week between the Vikings and the Buffalo Bills. I mean, I remember the last time those two teams met was in 2018, and it was basically Josh Allen's coming out party because he leapfrogs over, the defender, the linebacker, and it's like, oh my gosh, whoa, who is this? And so, like, this is now one of these games that's between one-loss teams. Excuse me, no, it's not anymore, right? I mean, because the Bills have more than one, but it's going to be one of those situations where you're going to see if the Vikings can actually compete with one of the top teams, because they didn't the last time they faced somebody in the Eagles that we know was one of those top teams. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they do.
That's a hell of a game to be landing at 1 o'clock Eastern, too, next Sunday.
Yeah.
But that's where it is. And it was a game in 2018 where the Vikings were 17.5-point favorites. And the Bills came in and thumped them. And that's when we realized Josh Allen can run. We've been so focused on passing and accuracy and his completion percentage and how much of it's him, the weather, the receivers. And he ran around, over, through the Vikings that day. So this is the first time. And this is the first time they're going to see Stephon Diggs. We didn't mention the Josh Allen elbow injury. He hurt it late in the game. He said he'll be fine. If he's not fine, it's the bizarro Minneapolis Miracle game, because it'll be Case Keenum and Stephon Diggs against the Vikings. Those were the two guys, obviously, who put together one of the all-time great postseason plays in NFL history. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.